when I was young, I used to get in trouble a lot. I was in halfway houses, juvenile detention, juvenile prison, all that stuff when I was younger. And it's interesting because when I look back, right, when I would get locked up or when I would be in a program, or something like that, I always excelled. Like I went to 2 different boot camps when I was younger. One when I was 15, it was an 8-month boot camp. I went to the boot camp and I excelled while I was there. I was the platoon leader. At one point I was doing all these great things. Like I even did our graduation speech. I remember reading out of the book of Corinthians in the speech, and then I ended up getting this girl's attention, and me and her ended up doing all kind of bad stuff together, and I went back to another boot camp. But the first boot camp, it was all good, everything was great. And then when I got out on my own on the street, I started messing up again. And then I got locked back up again, and I went to another boot camp. And when I was at that boot camp, once again, a leader, excelling, doing all the right stuff, right? So I did really good under discipline and structure. You know what I'm saying? It was clearly evident. I mean, there were so many times in my childhood that when I got in trouble and I was under some type of discipline or made to be in structure, then I would succeed, right? But if I didn't have that discipline and that structure, man, it was all bad. I just making all the craziest, worst decisions. So some of you guys know my story, and when I gave my life to Jesus and I received the Holy Spirit, one of the fruits of the Spirit is self-discipline, right? And it was the first time in my entire life that I had ever had self-discipline. It was like I woke up the next day with a superpower, because I remember because I had habits and different stuff that I had never been able to shake, and I gave my life to the Lord. And then I woke up the next day like a brand new person. I had control over things that I used to not have control over. And I just had this like superpower of self-discipline. And it felt so good. I remember feeling like, wow, I can choose to do something and do it. Or I can tell myself I'm not going to do something and actually not do it. Like it was a new level for me in life, so, but anyways, talking about discipline and self-discipline. So discipline is when you're being held accountable by an outside source, right? You're being held accountable by an outside source. So discipline is normally like you break a rule and this is what you're going to have, the consequence for that rule, right? Or you're going to have to suffer this consequence because you didn't do this right? And something outside is holding you accountable, is disciplining you. But self-discipline is really a superpower, because self-discipline is when you're doing that to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? That's a whole nother level. Self-discipline is where you tell yourself, if I do this, I get this. If I don't do that, I'm going to make myself do this, or I'm going to make myself not do that. It's a totally different level of discipline, self-discipline. It's like a drill instructor standing there telling somebody like, yeah, get down, do some push-ups, do this, roll over, get up on, do some squats. Well, without the drill instructor there though, self-discipline would be you just doing it on your own. You see what I'm saying? Look at the picture of a drill instructor standing there making someone do something, right? Self-discipline, you take the drill instructor away and the individual is doing it because they're choosing to. That's self-discipline. So I'm bringing this up because I want you guys to get this superpower. I really believe you could pray and ask God and fill your heart with Christ, and he could get this power too. But I believe that it's a make it or break it situation for a lot of people, because self-discipline is really what levels you up. Because once I got self-discipline and I was able to start holding myself accountable, that's when I really received the blessing of leadership. Because you can't really be a leader without self-discipline, right? If you can hold yourself accountable, then you can actually hold other people accountable. You see what I'm saying? And that's what people respect in a leader, is when you're able to do something really good for yourself. then other people think, oh, he could do that for himself. He might be able to help me do it too. That's really a big element of leadership. So I want people to think today, what in self-discipline could you practice? Right? Think about it. What in self-discipline could you practice? Think about this. Have you ever been made to do something? Of course, right? I don't know if you guys ever been to jail. I don't know what your discipline part of your life is like, but there's times where somebody's told you, do this right now. And how did you feel when they told you that? You didn't want to do it, right? Most of the time. I don't want to do that, but you did it. Listen to what I'm saying. When you're being disciplined, you listen. Somebody's like, get that, OG, you stand up. You go right over there. You do it right now. And you're like, wait, well, oh, okay. And you just got checked, right? So everybody's had a point in their life where you've been made to do something. Whether it's been an authority figure or whatever, older brother, somebody's told you to do something at some point. Parents, right? Put that down. I said no. You understand what I'm saying? And think about it. Those feelings in that moment. Listen, those feelings in that moment, right? But you're being made to do something, right? Think about the element of self-discipline, though. Self-discipline is sometimes like that. Do you know that sometimes I tell myself to do something or to not do something, and I feel like grumbling about it? I feel like I literally just put myself in check. No, Bobby, get up, do this right now. And I'm like, oh, man, but I'm doing it because that's self-discipline. You understand what I'm saying? Most people are controlled by their feelings. Most people are controlled by their feelings. What I mean by that is if you feel like doing it, you'll do it. But if you don't feel like doing it, you won't. Now, you might try to get yourself to feel like doing it, but if you can't get yourself to feel like doing it, you won't do it. I'm not like that. I do all kinds of things I don't feel like doing. You understand what I'm saying? It's a superpower. It really is. Because when something needs to get done, I don't need to feel like doing it. I'm going to do it because it needs to get done. That's what separates people that are really winning from people that are losing is self-control, right? Because self-control says, I need to get this done, so I'm going to do it, right? People that are controlled by their feelings think, gosh, how can I feel like doing this? But if they can't get themselves to feel like doing it, they won't do it. You see where I'm coming from? But if you can generate self-discipline in your life, then you have this superpower where you're able to accomplish a task because you're telling yourself you need to do it. You could apply it on anything in your life. What about a diet? You're not supposed to be eating something, right? Well, some people, if they feel like eating it, they're going to eat it, right? And if they can't convince themselves to feel otherwise, they won't be able to beat that item. If you think about it. But self-discipline is, I feel like eating it, but I said I'm not going to, so I'm not going to. That's self-discipline. Applying self-discipline to getting up early in the morning. I don't feel like getting up. Yeah, but if you say you're going to, you have to have self-discipline and make yourself do it. And in the moment, you don't feel like doing it, but you do it because you're practicing self-discipline. And the better you can get at it, the more, that's why I always talk about being comfortable, being uncomfortable, because that's really what it is. In order to really level up, because let me tell you, there's like this fantasy part of saying you're going to do something. It's so fun, as I was talking about the other day, to make a plan, right? It's so fun. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then this is what's going to happen. But when it comes time to do this and do that, if you don't feel like doing it, you won't do it. That's where you fall short. You see where I'm coming from? Because it's easy to make a cool plan and it sounds all good. Because basically when you're making a plan, what are you doing? You're saying you're going to do something to get something, right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and this is the cool outcome that I'm going to get by doing this and doing that. And it's really fun. It almost like pumps the endorphins in our head and everything. Like we get excited when we make awesome plans, right? But what happens when it's time to do the stuff that you said you were going to do and you don't feel like doing it? That's where self-discipline has to come in. Because if you remember a second ago when I was talking about when somebody makes you do something, what do? They come up, hey, you pick that up right now. You stop doing that. You move right over there. Go right now. Right? And you're being made to do it. Oh, okay, here I go. Right? But what about when the person's not there to tell you? Who else is going to tell you? You. Do you understand what I'm saying? Think about that. Think about how effective your life could be if you could make yourself do something. If you really would just get over the edge of not worrying about how you feel about it, but doing it because you said you were going to do it. It felt all good. You felt like doing it when you said you were going to, or you wouldn't have said you were going to do it. Right? Oh yeah, this week I'm going to get up early. I'm going to go crush it all day, and I'm going to have at least 20 every day before I stop. It sounds real fun, right? It's all exciting to say it. But then on day one, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's time to get up. Oh yeah, I don't really feel like it though. And then here comes the excuses. Yeah, I was up a little late. I got all week though, so I could sleep in a little bit now. And yeah, and then I'll make up for it tomorrow. I got all week. I'm going to hit the snooze button and go back to bed. Right? No self-discipline. Being led by the feelings. Right? Oh, it's rainy outside. I was going to do it, but it's rainy outside. It's too moist for me. I'm going to, it's a little bit too much humidity today. Yeah, it just, my clothes feel a little icky when I walk outside today. So I'm going to change the plan. No self-discipline. Do you see where I'm coming from? No self-discipline. And that's how I'd say 98 to 99% of the world operates. It is. It's so hard to be the exception because you have a choice. That's why it's so hard. You actually do have a choice. And most of the time, you're going to go with what feels better in the moment. Yeah, I made this exciting plan and I said I was going to do it. And I really wanted to achieve it. But right now it's hot. I'm tired because I stayed up late last night. I'd rather eat a cheeseburger and go back to bed. You understand what I'm saying? Because it feels better in the moment. Yeah, but what about the diet you said you were going to be on? What about the commitment you made to the better you in 2024? Yeah, but it don't feel good right now. Do you see where I'm coming from? So in order to actually level up, you're going to have to practice self-discipline. You're going to have to get used to doing stuff you don't feel like doing on a consistent basis. That's why I truly recommend setting up some serious self-discipline schedule in your week. I'm talking about some things that you set up that you will not break your word no matter what. I challenge you. I challenge you to actually set some things up in your schedule that you will not break no matter what. Such as a certain time you're going to get up and an exercise you're going to do when you get up. And then don't break the rule no matter what. There's absolutely no excuses. I don't care if you get COVID. Run around and do your exercise. No excuses whatsoever. I'm being dead serious. You want to reach the next level? Tap into what I'm talking about, and you will. You'll rise so higher above anything you've ever achieved in your life if you tap into what I'm talking about right now. If you actually set your mind to doing some stuff and don't let any excuse whatsoever stop you, such as setting a goal up for your week of production, such as saying every single day I'm going to get this many sales before I stop, and then not stopping no matter what. I'm talking about no matter what. Not one excuse, doesn't matter what it is, don't matter how you feel, don't matter nothing, no change in the plan, have to stick with it, no exceptions. Practice that. I'm telling you, some of you guys have been around for a while and you've been accomplishing stuff. Guess what? You want to reach the next level? This is what you need to tap into. This is going to be the difference. This is what's going to take you from whatever you're producing now to an amount you can't produce unless you do what I'm saying. There's no other way around it. You cannot reach the level of performance that I'm talking about unless you do what I'm saying. In some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be the exact things of what I'm saying, but it has to be something. Something along the lines of serious self-discipline. Like you're your own drill instructor. You're the person standing next to your bed going, don't hit that snooze button, get up right now. Do not sleep another second, jump up right now. Run to the bathroom and get ready this morning. Hurry up and clean up your house. Hurry up and do the most exceptional, great things that you could possibly do this morning before you start your day. When you go to territory today, smile more than you ever have. I'm talking about true self-discipline. Doing things that you would not do unless you made yourself do them. And practicing it severely over and over. Real dedication. Saying, I'm going to get 15 at least before I stop. And then not letting yourself fall below that no matter what. It doesn't matter if a storm comes, if you get a flat tire, if your car breaks down, if one ETC isn't working. There's absolutely no exceptions to this self-discipline that I'm trying to teach you. You get it no matter what. If you had to stand on the side of the road and get a ride from someone to get to the next spot to get some more sales, you would do it because you're that serious to self-discipline, to actually doing what you say you're going to do with no exceptions. Bob?
You don't quit when you're tired.
You quit when you're done, when you actually achieve what you set your mind to. But I'm telling you right now, if you practice it, you're going to see where you're at. You're going to have a lot of respect for what I'm telling you if you actually try what I'm telling you, right? If you actually try what I'm telling you, and then you think about the fact that I actually don't skip my workouts, you probably have a lot more respect for me. You try it. You try to actually do something every single time you're supposed to without ever missing it and see how it goes. And when you fall short, correct yourself and make a serious dedication again. Don't accept failure. Really put your mind to it and think to yourself, I'm really going to go above and beyond and really level up and become the best me I could possibly be. You're going to do that by having self-discipline. You're going to do that by making dedication and seriously sticking to it without exception. Everybody say it, without exception. I'm telling you, it's the difference. It's the difference. There's so many things you could try in this office, but I'm telling you right now, if you try this one, it's going to test you for one. It's going to show you where you're at. It's going to show you that you got some work to do. Because everybody in this world, most people say they're going to do things and they don't do it because they lack self-discipline. I learned about myself. Listen, when I'm reflecting on my life, I look back when I was younger and I realized that when I was in trouble and I was in places where I was made to do stuff, I succeeded. But when I didn't have any discipline or structure, I didn't succeed. Once I got self-discipline and I learned how to give myself that structure, I succeeded. Do you see where I'm coming from? You could have that same story. You could realize the difference is self-discipline in your life. Where you have self-control. You actually know, you actually practice what it feels like to look at something you feel like doing, but not do it. Imagine that. That's hard for some people. Imagine actually wanting to do something and then not doing it. Imagine not wanting to do something and doing it. That's overcoming your feelings. Most people are guided by their feelings. Don't be guided by your feelings. Listen, do you want to be just like everybody else? Then be guided by your feelings. You will. But if you want to be an exception, somebody that's a high performer, that is part of that 5% or 1% or whatever you want to call it, then do things you don't feel like doing when you don't feel like doing them. That's how you seriously level up and practice it and learn how to have fun with it. Learn how to experience that feeling where it's like, yeah, I'm getting the job done. I'm actually growing. I'm becoming a stronger person. And then you actually will feel like doing some of the stuff that you didn't used to feel like doing. when you actually practice it and press into it. Yeah, that's one of them. You can practice this in any part of your life, guys. I practice this out in tent. Guess what? Waking up early, setting up the tent, even though you don't feel like it. Staying out there no matter what. A storm would come, we'd be signing people up from the car. Like right underneath any shelter we could get. I have my tent blow away. The tent smack a tree sign, the whole tent fold in half. All I got is a chair and a table, and I'm still signing people up. Because I got self-discipline. Because I set my mind to reaching my goal for the day, and I'm not going to quit until I get it. Because I got bills to pay, right? Because I want to have pride about the job that I'm doing. I want to feel good about myself, and I feel horrible about myself when I give up. It's the worst feeling in the world to me to know that I could have did better and not did it. At the end of the day, and I ain't got the results, That's the last thing I want to feel at the end of a day. That's one of the worst feelings for me at the end of the day when I didn't get the results. It don't matter why. It doesn't even matter why. If I don't get the results, I'm very upset with myself because I know better. I know how big of a deal it is to reach the performance level that you're supposed to reach, especially as a leader, you guys, as an independent contractor. You don't have guaranteed pay. The way you're actually going to reach that high level for the year is consistency. And without self-control, there's no consistency. Because consistency is actually doing the stuff even when problems arise, right? There's going to be system issues. Some of you guys, one ETC doesn't work and you're like, oh, I ain't working today. Look at what Peyton did yesterday. That's a good example of what every single person needs to do on a day when one ETC ain't working. Yeah, there's probably more examples than that. He just came up this morning talking about it. But so shout out to whoever had a great day yesterday. I'm giving an example because I want you guys to understand that there's no excuses. You don't give yourself room for excuses for non-performance. And you practice this with every part of your life. Not just one part, every part. You do it with your diet, you do it with your fitness, you do it with your faith, you do it with leadership in your family, you do it with your job, you do it with your finances, you do it with your credit, you do it with every single thing. You don't accept non-performance. You hold yourself accountable. You practice self-discipline. Remember, discipline is somebody telling you, get up, stop doing that, go over there, right? Self-discipline is you doing that to yourself. Imagine you're standing next to yourself and going, you better get up right now and go over there and do that. That's self-discipline. Making yourself do what needs to be done. Do you guys get something out of that? So I'm going to go over a couple awesome verses with you guys this morning. Proverbs 25:28 says, a man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Galatians 5:22-24 says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there's no law. And those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. You got to think, your desires are against your discipline. You gotta understand that. If you set a goal for, let's use food as an example. You set a goal, I'm not going to eat this, I'm going to eat that. Do you think you're going to feel like following that plan? No. You're going to be feeling the exact opposite. You tell yourself no sweets. You're going to be like, oh, ice cream, please. So without self-discipline, how are you ever going to achieve anything? Think about it. Our flesh is directly against our passionate, righteous goals.